So the next most pertinent question to ask is, how do we get values back? So here in returning values, we've got a little bit of coding to do before we get any place. So I'm going to go ahead and fork this right away. And we can look at a couple of little changes. So here in our main, you'll notice I have another int called number2, and this time its value also is 99. If I was just to run this, I haven't made any other substantial changes aside from outputting, here's value 2. So there's number 1, here's number 2. I've simply outputted its value. If we want to have a method call that returns a value, we have to make a couple of really small but important changes to the way our methods are defined. So all I did was copy public static void change me, and this time I'm going to call it public static int change me 2. I know, real clever, right? So what this is suggesting is that there's a return type here. This method is going to return an integer as opposed to a void which returns nothing. This is going to return something, and that something is going to be an integer. We also need to do one more thing. We have to specify what that return is going to be, and this time I'm going to return the work that we do with my value. So here it's exactly the same as we were doing here with change me. I am receiving an argument. That argument is going to be an integer. Here locally inside of change me 2, I'm going to refer to that integer value as my value. Here inside of my method, I'm going to change the value of my value. And instead of just outputting, like making a display of what that value is, I'm going to return this value so that inside of main, we have a little bit of freedom to be able to use the resultant of the work that we've done. So here, I'm going to let lines 14 through 17 just be as they were. And now we're going to do a little bit of work with number 2. So number 2, we want to be able to change its value, right? So I'm going to make an assignment. So number 2 equals, and what we're going to do is we're going to let number 2 become the resultant of change me 2. So I'm going to take change me 2, and I'm going to make a function, or I'm going to make a method call to change me 2. Remember, I need to pass it something. So I'm going to pass to it number 2 as an argument. So what's happening here in line number 19 is saying, look, I want to make an assignment. I want to make an assignment to the variable number 2. And the result is what's happening after a call to change me 2. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and if I haven't screwed anything up, we're going to have to wait patiently together to make sure I haven't screwed anything up. There we go. You'll notice nothing has changed because I forgot to make an output here. I'm going to, one more time, copy my line number 10 so that I can actually see and assess out what number 2 is. So we'll run this one more time. And we'll wait patiently. There we go. This time, number 2 is the value rather of number 2 has changed. The value of number 2 has changed because of this method call right here. I have assigned the return value. So remember, change me 2 has assigned the value of 0 to my value, which remember, we get from right here passing along an argument to change me 2. So let's just change this a little bit to make sure that everything is working. Instead of changing my value to 0. Let's change it to 500. So now I expect that anytime I call to change me to, the result of that method call is going to be 500. And here on line 19, I'm going to say, hey, look, assign the value of the change here to number 2 locally inside of my main method. So if I run it this time, what I should expect is this portion of the main will not change. Number is 99, that's an assigned value right here. Number 2 is 99, that's an assigned value right here. This is the resultant of a void method call happening here with change me. This we're going to expect is going to be changed because number 2 is going to be assigned the resultant of this method call. So what we should see is 500. So we'll run it. We'll patiently wait. This builds drama. And there we go. 500 is now inside of main the value that's assigned to number 2. So this is how we can use method calls to do work. We can expect a return value. The change here is minimum, but the impact is pretty drastic. Instead of declaring your method a void, which returns nothing, you'll declare it a type. You can have a string, you can have a double, you can have a char, you get the idea. And here inside of change me to my method, I have to remember to include this, a return value. So this could be the result of work we do. This could be the result of an assignment that we do. And this is going to return a value. So after my method call to change me to, a value comes back up here to line 19. This value is associated here with number 2, and that is used inside of main.